This world was wrapped up in yours. To the same monsters that ravaged a city the size of a car, snakes as well as ferocious birds the size of a particle. Yet it was still nothing so much as a problem in the classic evil creatures that turned out to be the real laws of this world. And people only smile in your endless despair. But fortunately, a star brother appeared and gave the desperate humanity any hope. After all, those who did not have enough talent had a chance to enter the gates and awaken to the incredible possibilities of the cosmic scale. He was able to become a hero. After all, they were the only ones who could give the monsters a decent fight back. After all, at some time, the city was blossoming, and the community of heroes was also blossoming along with it. But at this time, the sounds of scream were heard in one of the sounds. We immediately got a glimpse of a guy who walked through the door and almost threw the kid far away from the front door. The kid immediately looked up to his rival, talking about how 10 years ago his parents had risked their lives to save him during the crash. And he certainly couldn't expect that the bandit knife in their back awakened to quietly take away their ancestral home, even though they had been missing for less than a month. The guy immediately turned to the hero of the KM, saying he doesn't understand why he's taking the family property. It is said that the house has actually been home to 5 members of the Bay family for over 100 years. After all, nothing will happen to it as it belongs to the area. Suddenly also appeared who turned to the heroes, who say that today he turns 18 years old, but he has not yet awakening ability, according to the general rules. Those who have not reached the awakening of men by this age change their right to live in the territory of the awakening community. And also as an adopted awakening, he automatically becomes the owner of this mansion and everything by law according to the resentment. The hero immediately realized that they worked, because there are a lot of people I was not awakened by the age of 18, and they also continue to live. But he does not understand why throws out exactly his words that his parents did not get such a thing for their sacrifice. But the guy was not going to listen to this literally in one blow. He was able to once again throw our distant hero away from himself. The guy here started talking hero. How does he meet a regular person questioning the 6 guild rules? To which the other man approached the guy, told him that he had left him here and would be the first to leave. He went on to tell the guy not to forget his promise at the end of the completed business. The kid immediately smiled and said that he didn't wave goodbye because he had kept his promise made to him earlier. And as soon as the man left, the same guy looked towards the hero, who slowly rose to his feet. But before he could fully rise, he immediately received a kick in the stomach with his leg from the guy, which you had already started to say that he had completely forgotten to tell him. After all being recognized with a child genius, does he know why he still couldn't awaken his class? After all, it's all because he started little by little poisoning him since he was 10 years old. Because the monthly intake of the gray crystal lizard was constantly destroying his body, and no matter how much he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to develop his skills in such a situation. The heroes, as soon as he heard this, he immediately couldn't understand why he was doing this. But the kid decides to explain that she's fucked, as the house in this county is built near the Stargate, which is the best and most baseless site in the entire city of Dawn. Also go on to say that this is now his mansion, for such close proximity to the gate is a great help to his growth, and in addition it was very safe here. It is only now that our hero I began to realize that he had planned this all along. But the guy immediately goes on to say that his class is an E rank statement. So for him, there was a maximum of 7 apartments on the outskirts. But after all, if he hadn't awakened his parents, he, as an adopted son, would have inherited that house. The hero on all this immediately pitifully said that his family was really blind. I since sheltered such a rascal. But the guy abruptly approached the hero, said that he forgot to mention since he told his parents some news, and this time they met on a date, to give him not the slightest opportunity to awaken his powers, even though there was a huge danger. Because of course they didn't mistake the direction towards what was really a beautiful parental love. And heroes I here already realized that all this set up the kid, and even with his parents who literally recently disappeared. But no sooner did Hero I even say anything back to him, the guy immediately tossed him aside. His brother says he was cleaning up as he would have cracked and the trash fit perfectly. But as soon as the hero I moved some distance away from the house, he the same movie look in the direction of the kid thought only that he will come back. I will take revenge. But the guy, despite the fact that the hero left only because of the thought. After all, although he did not lose and is no longer a threat to him, but the best scum is the most ruinous scum. Meanwhile, the hero from China with the streets equally realizes that he is so strong that he has no power left even to go anywhere. And without taking even a couple steps, our hero fell literally where Fairy stood moments ago. But then suddenly blackness appeared from the men, which flew towards his father. And as soon as it hit him, there was a sudden reaction of some sort. The heroes immediately became engulfed in red fire, literally shrouded in an aura of I's strongest magic. Raising his head, he immediately did not realize what happened because the feelings were different, not like before. Suddenly, hero, I began to rise to one knee, thinking about the fact that he didn't think that the classic technique of reincarnation all worked the same way he approximately that he was reborn, remembering his recent events in his past life, where some warriors turned to someone, not understanding why since he had always treated him as his own child. The silhouette that appeared in front of us asked for forgiveness from this master, that if he died, he would have to live in his shadow, so he would never become the strongest in the world of war. But then suddenly said that he was ignorant of war, since his power of the great demon god beyond his woob, since he was thinking of fighting him, to which he immediately began to realize that all the time he was being led around by the nose, thinking that the idea of joining forces to destroy the demon god and end this dark age, is just his wishful thinking. Since he had completely forgotten about his oath and threatened his own face instead, he saw him as someone and wanted to maintain his power. But suddenly the demons asked if he should overpower him just like that. But the guy immediately spoke his name. It is said that he is the strongest warrior who knows the only war, god of SS Rank. It is said that he can't die so easily, for he will come back and become stronger than before. Then with help at that moment, legendary secret reincarnation techniques after a strong light suddenly appeared. And as soon as it got into the body of our hero, he immediately turned to the demons, because he survived to eradicate their sins one by one. But then our hero, I was indifferent to what was going on with this case, felt that it was poisoned, for it seemed to be the ability of the kidnapper, as the body is so weakened due to prolonged exposure that the inside of the organs are already in holes. Realizing that the body was simply destroyed, but not realizing that since the body was so badly destroyed, no words go into the awakening. But still, how could his soul have chosen such a useless shell? Suddenly, I began to remember some of the events of the former owner of the body, realizing that these were this guy's memories. And once he revisited everything, he realized that it was all the hand of his ungrateful brother, realizing that it was a betrayal. The hero realized that former owner was so big-willed before his demise. Rising up, he made a decision that in this case he fulfilled it, whatever happened. And already at this moment, the former owner's soul completely dissipating reincarnation was successful, for he had indeed become the master of this body. But still, it was so weak that the chance of creating a hero less than 1 in a million % did not already talk about returning to the former level, because he realized that it would be difficult to choose even his last wish. But then raising the head of the protagonist, he realized that there was nothing wrong with it like in his previous life. Being the strongest warrior, it was a matter of impossible. Thus, his vast amount of skills were to improve his physical strength and allow fate to defy the will of heaven. And at this moment, he began to think, searching for a secret technique in his head. And literally in a matter of moments, he immediately came up with the Nirvana law of the 6 ways of reincarnation. After all, he had created the classic secret arts, the 6 ways of reincarnation along with reincarnation in the mysterious lands of the void, as reincarnation had proven to be effective, and the 6 ways of reincarnation should also work if he mastered it to accurately change his body and gain even greater power than in the last life. But also, he also still complies with the transformation that he first needs to enter the Stargate to awaken, realizing that his name is now Bi Jin, and with that name he will return to the top and become the strongest in the world. The hero, after a moment, was already standing in front of the Stargate, realizing that the City of Dawn was in the southern part of the planet, and it was a far cry from the heavenly city located in the north that he lived in before. And it was again that he had been transported from the north to the south. And it was also a good thing, as he would do the very thing from our demons to secretly become the strongest. For in addition, the City of Dawn led the city in the south and here, and it was true that he had long awakened, for he had fought in 2 places like night and day to increase his strength and limit his dreams of becoming the god of war. Already for a moment, the heroine approached the bench with thoughts of awakening. But then one of the men who had thought of trying to appeal to the hero said that he had already tried twice this month, and failed both times, because his father, the captain of the group, was awakening. He was eligible for paid attempts, though with his potential, he could forget about awakening. And as soon as the man said that it was just wasting resources, you our hero. He turned around abruptly, very angrily asked what he said, and if he was afraid of hash redo from him, literally emitted a completely different energy that no one had ever seen. The guy who whispered something empty, wasting resource, didn't immediately realize what he was and suddenly why he was suddenly giving off this evil aura. The guy here was very much surprised to see such an ominous aura reflection in front of him. But suddenly the captain who was watching came up to him and asked him what happened, and the guy sharply told the captain what had just happened. But the hero at this time thought that according to the memories of his body when he was young, he was saved by his parents. But he is not yet the same way he will be led to the son of his masters after the change in the family, and whether he will behave with them like others. to which the captainess immediately began to reprimand the lad, saying that his family throughout the period is an awakened family life. They have contributed a lot to the city, and he has some problems. Asked the same way, where is the guy's awakening star chart? And as soon as the commander turned toward our hero, he immediately held out a golden card, saying that he had taken it and participated in the awakening. He came closer and said that if he failed the test this time, he should seek discovery. After all, he can't stay inside the residence of the awakened as it is very dangerous for him. As soon as Commander Ryan agreed with this hero, he abruptly turned around and started walking in the other direction. And he understood perfectly well that the commander is the person who knows how to pay gratitude, so that it does not happen. And already as soon as our hero had a golden ticket, he immediately went towards the gate to participate in the awakening. And as soon as he threw his golden ticket at the door, they immediately swallowed that ticket. And our hero easily passed through the gate to participate in the awakening, finding himself among the other participants who were also undergoing the awakening trials. But at this moment with the hero became something incomprehensible that he did not understand what was happening, as his body cannot even withstand the pressure of the place of awakening, because it was unsurprising, because he was poisoned for so many years. Realizing that it would be extremely difficult to achieve awakening in a different way than he had managed before. After all, potential test entrants contracted into resonance with the stars and then could awaken, and the more he attracted starlight, the more transformation his body would undergo, and this promised a great advantage and a bright future. Those who fail to resonate with the stars end up as ordinary people in rotten misery. But as soon as the hero raised his head, he saw the star, realizing that everything is the same for him, but his body is so bad and weak that the top cannot break through, as it is not possible to get the normal amount of starlight in contract, let alone awaken. But still the hero foresaw this, and judging from the starlight he was looking at, even if he gets it, the transformation won't be complete. But also, if he wants to turn, he needs to take the risk and put his best foot forward. Having tried the classic secret art of the 6 ways of reincarnation, as he needed to ignite a huge amount of spiritual power and summon the wheel of the 6 paths, and gather the power of light, countless numbers, and then the stars, the material essence and the transformation of his body. Since in Hero's past life his soul power was strong, and although he had suffered losses after his rebirth, but his soul power should remain quite independent. In this, he immediately began to utilize his skills and abilities to turn out 6 ways. What actually happened as a bright starlight literally lit up above our hero and himself. A bright beam of light pierced our hero, but at that moment no one realized what had happened. And besides, how can stars shine like the sun like that? The only thing was realizing that someone very powerful had just awakened, realizing that from that amount of starlight, the body should have been completely transformed, realizing that it was a success with this ability. But still, one juke is only the first step. For it is time to curb the flames of starlight, for the true awakening will begin at this moment. After all, to awaken the class, it is necessary to endure the extinction of that flame. Although our hero has used a lot of things over the years, it really was terribly painful for him. And in the moment of transformation, the hero creates extreme pain, but we all realize that he had to endure it. But after just a moment, everything quickly ended, realizing the power of the star attracted was by his skill. But he was not yet to be so simple. But he couldn't expect what power appeared behind his back just yet. And as the hero turned around with a smile on his face, now that was like the truth. And that force immediately began to watch as hero enveloped him from all sides. But suddenly another flaming star appeared in front of him. And in the blink of an eye, his start was accompanied by different forces enveloping his entire body. Realizing that he had received 6 identical ways of reincarnation, correspond after all to the 6 kinds of flame stars, and hero that such an awakening without precedent, which is just as very dangerous. Though the more dangerous, the greater the benefit. Realizing that he should take advantage of it to temper his body by asking to be reborn from the ashes, nirvana, and in the dome, the rebirth and the same purification of essence began. And once the process was complete, Hero felt a truly real power within herself that overflowed into every cell of Hero. And just like that, the body was completely restored and the self was completely removed. The 6 ways of reincarnation is hardly a legendary secret art that can change fate. Now the awakening was complete, but the hero wondered what he was able to awaken, but he couldn't think when all the things he had awakened realized what they were. Since after awakening you are promoted depending on the class you awakened, to display body strength in martial arts as well as speed and agility, plus the advantage of magic and keen beam vision. And one of the most important is the unwavering will of the knight of the specific perception of the summoner. Our hero was pleasantly surprised that he was able to awaken all 6 classes because he realized that it was all due to the art of the 6 paths of reincarnation. As he knew much from his past life, he had scarcely ever heard of a man having even 2 classes, but he was very much surprised, for he had gotten all 6 grades at once, realizing that with a body like that he would surpass his past self, for he should wait for it together, for it would not take him long to get it. But suddenly the hero, I noticed that star space had begun to crumble, and the awakening process should soon be over. Realizing that it was time for him to leave, so he sympathetically took a step, he began to emerge from the awakening state. But all of a sudden there's this guy looking at the hero and he says he's out of the slum. Keeps saying, why did he come to the awakening? I mean, he's just garbage, wasting resources. The hero wasn't the same weak kid, so he immediately sent him away and started walking the other way. But the guy decided that he just wasn't gonna stay that way. He immediately started yelling at Emu in the back about how dare he talk to him like that. Also, the guy began to think, because after exposure to laser radiation he should not have died. Since it didn't, then he destroyed it himself with his own hands. Shouted that the scum dared not to listen to him, and today he taught him a lesson on behalf of his parents. But as soon as the boy hero immediately ran out of the commanders, showed him that he stopped, did not agree that if he dared to touch him, it would be bad. The kid decided to attack our hero snake attack, saying that they do not blame him for it. And our hero, I began to think to myself that it's even funny bronze rank breeze and snake attack skills rank thief, realizing that he really intends to destroy him, but they have to hide and conduct stealth attacks. After all, the previous experience of the elegant god of war, no matter how worthless the attack is, he sees many open places. Well, in addition, our hero has now awakened a whole 6-7 classes, so he immediately counterattacked the guy who was attacking our hero. I realized that even if they're 2 ranks apart, he can easily defeat him, which is exactly what happened. He hit the guy so hard that he literally flew a long distance away. But then suddenly, who all not far away, immediately surprised, as he was not always standing, as Scum sent the thief Yarang flying with 1 blow. But the fellow, as soon as he landed, couldn't as he could get it, for it took 1 to knock him back. I think he may have been lucky. But our hero, he's just awakened, so he doesn't have class taunts yet, and taking advantage of the surprise effect, he was able to hit this guy. But he was also fine that it was enough to overpower him. It ended when one of the older ones turned to the guy and said that he had openly turned into annihilation. So who had just awakened asked him if he wanted to go to jail. But the guy immediately started to say that he has tried many times to awaken, but all to no avail, and he knows it because he should be fired for abuse of power, because he gives such scum a chance and covers for them. But the man immediately began to say that it's not for him to teach a brat how to live his life, and as for the awakened hero, any man who is sighted can do it. That actually everybody say Stalin talk about that. Yes, they really convinced as a hero I was able to repel an attack with 1 blow, and he really awakened. But the guy only thought that it was impossible, since his body so long ago was the effect, poison, that it began to break down. I think it is impossible in this way with the body to awaken you. But then the same man came over to scan our hero to see what class he had gotten from the awakening, and he immediately saw that hero was an awakened class warrior, and showed that he had awakened class warfare, and that was the explanation for his hit. But everyone began to realize that the boys were unlucky to be in Roma, attacking head-on warrior, since he really about bull his on, but no one understood. Why when they awakened class warrior, they were not so strong. But it was all easily explained as the awakened 6 classes 2 shocking events. Our hero I am, if they find out about it, he could be targeted by someone stronger, and then he will beware. But luckily his soul is strong, and he hid his aura with the help of his soul powers. Everyone can only see now that it is cool. The man immediately turned to the hero saying congratulations to him, as he did that his parents would be proud of him. And since he was awakened, he should go to the warrior guild and study and improve his skills and try to discover the accompanying talents to become a true high-level awakened one. Talking about the fact that Hero Ya has lost and already so much time, so he and should put up for later that hero kindly said that he will try. But then suddenly our hero Ya asked the men, when does the monthly talent evaluation happen? Today he immediately replied that the most armored car is the group that flies out of town to measure talent. But the man also turned to the hero wondering why he cared so much, since he wasn't planning to watch the Watcher right now because the hero immediately answered him that he correctly assumed put. But the men decided that he was crazy, since he must realize that he is only given 1 shot at this since he has finally awakened and wants to lose his only chance like this. Because when people are awakened, they are given the status of apprentice. But apprentices learn and improve their abilities in the guild for 1 year to 3 years. Once they have enough knowledge, they go to the talent evaluation, and it is only there that a very talented class can learn. After that, they begin to be considered true awakened ones. The man also started to say that the accompanying talent is a passive skill, and each class can only get 1 such me, and it can be either good or bad, and it determines his future achievement. He should prepare himself well, and then I can perform well on the level, so as this key to getting a good talent appeals to the hero, he should seriously study this knowledge. but the hero immediately turned to the man with a smile and told him not to wave his hand as he was confident in his abilities. And actually immediately he headed towards the armored cars that stood at the exit of the Awakened. Meanwhile, the kid in front of him, that is his half-brother, only looked that he just awakened and already wants to pass the talent assessment, realizing that he has a very strong attitude towards me, and also he raises what he represents, which is for him, and he needs to think about how to get rid of him. On Heroes, I also understand perfectly well that they are grateful and still plan to destroy him. But when he has gained essentially a talent and becomes truly awakened, then the worthless me kid is no bother to him. The Star Dome has enveloped the city in its dome, but there are quite a few creepy monsters behind it. They're extremely evil and have an unseen thirst for souls. Individually, the monsters are afraid of the light of the Stargate and do not dare to look in the city, but if you gather enough monsters, their thirst to overcome fear, and this catastrophic wave of Da is carried to the city. And in human history, many cities are known to be overrun by monsters. When the Stargate is destroyed and the starlight is extinguished, countless people become food for the monsters. Thus, no matter the awakened opposing catastrophic wave and the defense of the city after this war, in which the awakened bring themselves to be sacrificed and become martyrs of the cold humanity. And each martyr with an unyielding will and the support of the Stargate group, and gains immortality under the cover of the Stargazers, and a multitude of tombstones explores the vast amount of star energy, distorting space and restoring dimensions of randomness, such as the Earth of Starlight Gifts. There, each self, a newly awakened person, participates in career talents for awakened glory before they receive an additional talent not observed by the adventurers. Meanwhile, the truck was already traveling down its awakened road. She is the same hero at the time he was really a delicacy and he practiced such a thick book about the city as a whole. Realizing that he should target just such monsters, no matter how different he is from city to city, but most of the rules of the Starlight Gifts of Constant Light. Realizing that in his past life he was born into an ordinary family without any support from his elders, and it's a miracle he was able to manifest an additional talent of rank 30 back then. So what are the different talents from gold, silver, bronze, iron, bronze, and the lowest rank? Iron rank talent can be obtained by 1 out of 10 people, and most people get the lowest rank. But 1 out of hundreds of thousands or even millions will receive an epic rank talent this time, a hero who can stand out higher and achieve the epic rank talent. Since according to the legend, it requires entering the deepest part of the Earth of Starlight. Meanwhile, our hero arrived at the venue along with the other passage trials, and many began to whisper amongst themselves, thinking that they were hoping to gain the accompanying bronze rank skills. Then they were able to get rich, but some said that they were not warriors, for only one of his income gets. And at one point, some of those who had passed the trials noticed our heroes interrogated each other. Did he awaken? Although in the means of his parents, he could have led to many consequences and awakened, since he is even here reading a book in such a place. Can he be dumbed down after awakening? That these guys became awakened disciples and received 3 years in the major guilds. Although personally, it was more likely that the guilds only provide basic knowledge on the current same valuable information, only spread amongst high-ranked awakened ones. Since Dopey doesn't know that she is testing the land of Starlight Gifts, the most important thing is not strength, but wisdom, will, and courage. But then there was a girl to whom all attention was drawn, for she had awakened at the age of 11 years and in many countries of the world with her fiery genius. But it was strange that she had awakened the class 5 years ago and no one knew, for she must have observed the talent before. But why did she come only now? And our hero started to think because she is from a rich family, but her aura is not much because it is not stronger than usually an awakened student. But she has a dense concentration of soul power, and also the gravekeepers of the earth, for the Starlight Gifts appeared in front of our hero and the other participants, such as a senior member of the Archers Guild of the City of the Dawn of Martial Aptitude Blossom City, with rank, and a senior member of the Warriors Guild of the City of the Dawn of Martial Aptitude Blossom City, with rank. On the fact that they immediately became one among themselves, that was how the daughter of the Lin family had awakened an archer at the age of 11 and had been preparing for so many years throughout the benefit would be fruitful, and it seems her archer guild had obtained a true treasure. But they also realized that they shouldn't be so quick to judge, because the Tarantha depends on luck and it's too early to declare. For example, according to inside information, they have been preparing to target the next high-ranking talent all this time, and they are confident in their abilities. But then one of the men thought about the fact that he was right. An additional talent claimed from luck. Maybe an iron rank talent will turn out. To which he immediately another war angered by asking if he was trying to jinx it. But the man also said that he was telling the truth, for this had happened before. But there were also some wiser ones among them as they argue again. But they shouldn't waste time, a quicker start the assessment. Ask if everything is in place. They suggested that they don't need to develop anything regarding the qualification of talents. For they already know everything before they enter the land of starlight gifts. They should pay homage to the ancestors who are intimidated here, since it was their heroic sacrifice that allowed Winter to continue to live in a world full of monsters. Luck smiled on him, and they awakened. So today, they are here to preserve the legacy of the ancestors' heritage, fighting for the future of humanity. It's also very dangerous in these lands, and this is their first reflection to become true awakened ones. If they don't take it seriously, they might die, stating at one point that the land would only open for one day, so they should take advantage of that loss. The extra talent they gained would be the income from their good fortune. The portal immediately opened, and literally in no time at all, everyone began to enter to observe as it had already begun, in the world where the score itself had fallen. But at this point, the hero was holding a book, and the other participants assumed that he was stupid as he kept reading the book and came here unprepared. Here's where one of the guys responded. Our hero said he knew him. They say he's the famous I'm Scum. If he wants to read books, he should go read in a den somewhere. But our hero, I only stared at the guy, who immediately got angry, asking him what he was staring at and whether he wanted him to destroy him right there, since he should go home. To which our hero just told him to teach himself to take care of himself from the way he turned to walk. But the same clearly started yelling how he's trash and how he dared to call him a fatty. But suddenly one of the spirits in the dining room took an interest in him and got his aura, and everyone immediately realized that Fatty had entered the heroic spirit's observation zone. And in this circle, he was immediately surrounded by spiders that literally came closer and closer to him. And many realized that this is the monster Afranga spider with a ghostly face. After all, they have not yet discovered the awakened. So how did they win with the monsters? And at this moment for the kid, everything ended up being a heroic exam, in case he failed, and everyone immediately saw his ordinary white talent runes. For the kid, this exam was a failure, and the accompanying talent for him was a lower level, and he didn't see the Fatty Saint's future. Our hero, meanwhile, continued on the path of the path in the video, as some of those who passed the test passed the clock and changed bronze rank. On this heroic spirit test in the lands of the Starlight Road Pass, then we'll get the accompanying talent of a certain rank from the heroic ancestor spirit. But if fail, then can only get a lower rank item. But suddenly a heroic voice was heard asking him if he wanted to go into the depths. Because in the future in these lands you can get the title of the highest rank, but the spirit will be scarier and can even threaten life. Because think very well before you go any further. To which our hero I only thanked for the awakening, for he also gave her this to attach to the external forces to pass the heroic spirit evaluation. But the girl was immediately confused by the powers implied, since just in case the family had prepared Yoranga dolls and even the present awakened will not immediately reveal them thinking. After all, he is just a student, but I do not understand how he did it. The hero also thought that if this book does not lie, then somewhere around there must be a heroic spirit of a warrior of silver rank. But he has not yet matched. Why he has not yet appeared. And actually not long he waited a moment later, silver spirit almost knocked our hero down. And at some point, the heroic spirit turned around looking towards our hero, and the hero, he looked puzzled, addressing him with forgiveness as he came to get a glimpse of the epic rank talent. I think it might be the silver rank ancestral spirit thought that his soul was different from the rest of the soul energies. Really good influence. Lasting only one day, he could only waste more time. Someone needed to get what he came for faster. In addition, although the lands, except for the Tusk Shimmer, the stars reigned completely, so it's hard to navigate and easy to get lost. But fortunately, all the heroic ancestor spirits described in the book our hero was reading could be used as coordinates, and the shortest path could be found. And here was the location of this spirit was correct. What actually he did, and immediately rushed with great speed to his goal. But at some point, he was also stopped by two spirits, which for some inexplicable reason fought between each other. And the hero at this point did not understand why they are portrayed as for all appearances. He underestimated the attractiveness of his soul to the spirits of the ancestors. Only apologized, said here, for the talent of epic rank. And on his way, the hero met many more spirits who were literally getting in front of him. But each he tried to bypass, as his goals were epic spirit asking only forgiveness in other spirits. Realizing that he had attracted a lot of attention along the way, and it seems that this time he has a high chance to show a display of epic rank talents. Well then suddenly our hero heard something from the bushes that came from his left side. As he came closer, he only thought she was stupid since he had warned her. Because the hero saw the reflection of the girl with the golden spirit that defeated her. But the girl doesn't realize what is happening as the spirit literally attacks with it becoming a force, thinking only of why the ghost of the 7 Lenas so mean to her. But also the Gonic skeletons appeared. The girl immediately noticed that the arrows turned into 3 monsters. Yorang realized that this is not an examination of heroic spirit, and the ancestor just wants to destroy her. But the girl also turned to the ancestor to ask him why he is trying to destroy her since she's his descendant. The girl kept asking for an explanation. If she had offended him, she apologized, but she wanted to know why he was doing this to her. The spirit immediately started repeating that she is unworthy, and that word is unworthy. She was confused as she didn't understand why this was happening. Her grandfather always said that her abilities were the best, and she was the hope for the rebirth of their family. But she still didn't understand why her ancestor was so angry with her and kept saying she wasn't worthy. I think the girl knew perfectly well that there must be a reason for this, but he kept repeating that she wasn't worthy and should get out. But the girl still wanted to know what she had done wrong, because the heroic spirit never told her, although the girl asked her to tell her what was wrong. But suddenly our hero appeared to the girl and turned to the girl and told her that she still didn't realize what she had done wrong. And the girl was very surprised when she saw the guy behind Orawai battle, because she didn't understand why he was here. And at the same time, the ancestor immediately noticed his hero and turned his attention to him. And the girl only thought about it, because after the awakening at the age of 11, she did not relax and practice very hard, and even passed the severe hardening, because before the awakened. But she worked so hard on her development to the heroes. And on this run, she herself is an outstanding genius of the Lin family as well as a disciple with great potential, and she has worked hard to get here. She had decided that if she came face to face with a spirit today, she would die and still release the arrow. But in a moment, the girl looked at our hero, said this Reincarnation with the heroic spirit, with questioning doubt. But that our hero, I said that it looks like that, because in this exam is more important not strength and will and courage. The girl immediately began to remember his words, where he said that she had taken 2 dolls with her, and it was not cheating, but still a cowardly act. And now she also caught to understand what was the matter and what he meant. But then she began to think, how can such a man be unknown in the city of dawn? And at that moment, the exams were over for the girl, and finally she got a vote from your ancestor. Realizing that she was able to get the accompanying talent of the ancestor rejoiced, because it was good news for her. To what our hero observed this and that, it is not bad because she received the accompanying talent of the golden rank, and it seems that she will have a bright future. But the girl also thanked our hero for his help, but he only said that he was happy to help her. But since she received the talent that she should enter here quickly, since the legal ancestral spirits do not cause this harm, but after their years, they can imitate the hacked violent spirits. If she meets such a one, she will get into a very dangerous situation. The girl immediately understood what the guy was talking about, and she was also interested in why he came here because this is a gold-ranked spirit zone. Found he immediately said that of course he came to learn the accompanying talent, and the girl was unexpectedly surprised because she thought that he also wanted a gold-ranked talent, but his aura is special compared to other awakened disciples. To which Hiroya asked her what does she know. After all, she should not think but just help to keep it a secret and not tell anyone about her. But the girl didn't understand why he always acts so arrogant. Realizing that this is a gold-ranked zone, but he goes even further without realizing where he is going. And can it be that he is manifesting in the deepest part of the land of starlight gifts? And eventually, our hero reached this place as it is the deepest part of the starlight gift land, the so-called projection of the gates of hell. Realizing that he is no doubt headed in the right direction. But just in a matter of moments, our hero received a very strong pressure on his body and realized that the BMW ability of the monsters is at least at the level of advanced D rank. Realized that the spiritual energy gap is too big of a deal, because even if he is not so spiritual, pressure makes itself felt even when he is far away from his body can withstand it. Because all ranks of spiritual energy concluded from 1 to 999 level, and advanced spiritual energy wounds over 900 disciple. Awakened spiritual energy equals the 30th. And although these lands don't quite rely on combat power, but if his body couldn't withstand this so-called experience, then wisdom and bravery would be useless. So the hero realized that the concentration of spiritual energy is dozens of times higher than in the outside world, and this is a commonplace for development, and passed a few hours of the beginning of the evaluation. He still has time he needs to get stronger quickly. Immediately made him use the secret art from his past life infinite races. Endless races is a secret technique of epic rank that he accidentally obtained past life. There are various reasons why he was able to so many thousands back then, but this technique was indispensable. So he immediately began to use it, accumulating more and more energy by absorbing it inside himself. He also realizes that the energy is absorbed faster than in the past, and it's because he got 6th grade, and as a buff he has increased the absorption speed. And also in this place there was a very sweaty concentration of spiritual energy, and he could absorb it as he wished, and with such a speed to get results that others take a year to get in one day, and immediately the amount of spiritual energy began to increase in a fairly rapid amount. And in a moment, the amount of spiritual energy was 99, Realizing that the amount of spiritual energy has reached his maximum level for a student of 99 points, and before receiving the accompanying skills, he is not able to become a true awakened, but his body also cannot absorb more spiritual energy. And also spiritual energy of 99 points, an increased 6 times strength should be enough to pass the epic. And suddenly in front of our hero appeared Hellyear, who's the most ferocious monster rank D. Especially the bone soul fire on their bodies is enough to burn the soul is terrifying. The spirits felt that after hundreds of years, finally someone had come to pass the assessment, but they should have waited until they passed and defeated the hound from the hound skill. But in the end, it was just a piece of the soul of the Hell Cerberus, our hero realized. Meanwhile, this same puppy with a Cerberus soul began to attack our hero with suppressed spiritual energy. The hero immediately realized that if this had happened earlier, he would have been very frightened. But now it's a different matter because this type of suppression of spiritual energy is useless against him using infinite breakthrough messengers. What actually happened and the battle began, and the Infernal King Takes began to attack our hero, but he could not strike. And at this time, our hero I tried to attack his mother with a dagger Cerberus. Not apparently, he had it very badly succeeded. After all, he expected it since with all his current combat power, he could barely scratch him. But he also kept saying he was just a puppy, and Cerberus apparently became insanely angry and was emitting the strongest energy around him. Our hero realized that his provocation worked because he saw that Cerberus was angry. And at the moment when Cerberus attacked the hero, literally left his hands permanently in place and waited for this moment. But suddenly Cerberus could not attack and literally passed by our hero. The hero perfectly understood that in the end, it is just a land to evaluate. The mist students realized that where would they get a real Hellhound Dranga for the sake of evaluation? So with literally one swish, our hero was able to completely wreck the Hellhound. Since being an apprentice, he is green, but how strong he could not become in these lands, the keys to success are wisdom, will, and courage. It was only when he provoked her that he became angry that the real hellhounds are immortals, and like all immortal creatures, they are alien to emotion, let alone rage. Since this was just a projection to scare the candidate, to see if he had the fighting skills and bravery to face such a monster. Therefore, our hero I easily handled it, and is already headed further into the entrance to the door that was previously guarded by a Cerberus. Think if this means that this is the so-called Hellgate, because he's a little excited. Once inside, he realized that this is the longest corner of this land, and it looks like this because it doesn't look like hell, rather it's a mahiwai the length of a sacrifice of epic rank. But then at some point the hero I felt something wrong. He saw a literal bullet I flew through, better understand what it was era that reached S rank /. And at that moment, this aura began to attack our hero who realized that it is a very strong power and die not far away. But he immediately said stop, and the heroic spirit of epic rank stopped literally in front of the hero. The hero in turn emitted the strongest aura which sensed the epic spirit / just told the elder to stop doubting because he didn't get here by luck, and he wants to see what the epic rank can do. But the spirit immediately said that he is just but he dared to come here, and does he want to see if he's capable of spiritual epic rank? Because maybe he is bored of living? It is said that as a tribute to his past life, he offers to test him not by negotiation after all. On this test, the main strength, otherwise he admits that he cannot compete even with the disciple, because it seems the spirit of epic rank has kept all the knowledge in his past life, so he will be much stronger than the spirit of golden rank. But that spirit immediately replied to our hero that he is a red speech small, and whether he thinks that if he got here he will be able to defeat the representative of the epic rank, because he must be very naive, as he will show him what the power of the genealogical spirit of the epic rank means. Using his powers, he literally began to envelop himself and our hero with an aura, and in just a moment, our hero, I was in the arena in a second, but at that moment his spiritual energy reached the I rank, and the amount of spiritual energy became 400. Realized that this is the same rent. After all, just now their speeches were so sandy-eyed, and he wants to see what he says when he seems to be there. In the meantime, they distracted and sneaked to the guy himself because he is pathetic, and in his past life reached the rank with assumed that with the same way. Since it was the first time in 100 years that a junior came here, but for a student of epic rank is too heavy. However, they have an incredible physique as if relating to the entire class. At once, the young man is really an extraordinary talent. But some were very angry because the boy passed, and how dare he contradict the rules. They wanted him to let him test. Meanwhile, the hero realized that the epic rank was so powerful that he was able to move him to the arena of dreams, saying that I am in this arena alone of the same level, and being in the same position, if he makes a single mistake, he will pass the test. Stangroy immediately said that since they have the same ranks, but he doesn't even use weapons in battle with him. He thinks that he relies on the experience of the god of war from his rank to defeat him. After all, his unjust sword art at such a capable disciple, thought the spirit. After all and everywhere, the attack of our hero suddenly realized that even with a weapon in hand to resist such a ruthless attack would be difficult and even more so. And the spirit understood that such an attack he could not dodge at all. In just a moment, our hero was already standing holding the furnace in front of the spirit's head. But he did not understand how this was possible, because the skills he showed were even stronger than him. It felt like he was fighting a god of war, of at least SS rank. Such a man he had not seen even in his lifetime. Despite our heroes realized that perhaps this is a true genius. The hero immediately told him not to worry about him, asked him to give it his all in this battle. And the spirit was literally interested in this, immediately crossed his arms in preparation for the fight. He immediately threw his arm out so that Les literally flew at him for a future full force duel. And just moments later, the duel took place. You know, hero, I immediately decided to attack the spirit first, did not wait for him to use his techniques on him. And for the epic spirit was a surprise that the hero literally in one attack was able to strike, that the spirit immediately threw out his sword. Standing in front of his ear, our hero only muttered that he had lost. And the spirit did not resist at all, with this confirmed that yes, he really lost in this battle. And our hero realized that this was a perfect passing of the test, because it was definitely enough to get a talent rank supputate and go with it. This life will be much higher than the last. But the sudden spirit has disappeared. Our hero has not caught where he is, and what about his talent? Thinking about the fact that he overdid it so much that the spirit just disappeared with the ends of these epic souls can't do that to him. Meanwhile, the epic spirit went back to normal where the other tropical spirits were watching the whole thing, who immediately asked him because he came back so fast. I think the trials are over. They say that if he didn't pass on, he means the guy lost. But they didn't fully understand why he hadn't regained consciousness yet, because he was still in the arena of the world. I asked the epic spirit why he hadn't completed the trial yet. But the epic spirit immediately said that he had lost the battle, and everyone couldn't believe it that he lost to a brat. After all, he's probably joking around with them since he was still both Erang, and it was impossible since he probably gave in on purpose. But the spirit said that there was no giveaway, they had lost the truth, and the total defeat of this young man's skill level does not match theirs, and he has a plan for it. He immediately proposed his plan on, and except the spirits could not believe what he says, because on the other hand, they can still try, but some of them did. His words alone weren't enough to convince them. But also he has an idea how to make this plan even more normal, so they immediately move to our hero. Our hero, I saw 6 silhouettes appear in front of him, I realize it. After all, in front of the hero appeared 6 epic spirits in times on, and he did not expect that in the city of Dawn, in the most remote place fed by starlight, will be so many heroes, spirits epic. Think what kind of fierce battle once fought here. And the spirits watching all this realized that he, even in the sight of the 6 of them, did not blink an eye because it seems that his courage was reinforced. But then they turn to the heroes and say that he defeated one of their spirits and got their disapproval. And now they want to offer him a higher ranking challenge. Suggested that he fight them with epic spirits. If he defeats them, they will each give him their own situation. If not, he will leave with nothing. The hero realized that if he defeated them, he could get the epic talent of each class. I think it's a very good idea. But they immediately warned our hero that he should think carefully, since he could leave now with an epic rank war talent. But other spirits also began to tell our hero that in their opinion he didn't have enough green K, and it was better for him to give up and leave with what he had, but some spirits thought that they would have fun now. And the heroes immediately started laughing, saying he was interested. And he immediately said that he understands what they are on the challenge already challenged, and their determination to face countless monsters and create a better world is still as strong as before. And he accepts this challenge, so he wants to start soon. Some spirits immediately realize that he is a very cocky me, but on the same side they like it. Meanwhile, Hera has already made a stand to start. Although one of the spirits warned our hero to be careful, and he realized that the 6 older are familiar with each other, understanding and some kind of arrangement for the beginning. He must break it all, for first he must deal with this one who is always lurking in the dark. As expected, he immediately appeared behind our hero's back thinking he could attack him. But he did not know that our hero has the vision and hearing of an archer who reacts, and he realized that he should listen. Meanwhile, the epic spirit realized that at the same rank in the battle of war, and the thief of the second disadvantage. But suddenly he literally gets one blow of epic rank and leaves the battle. And the other epic spirits realized that the first round was over, and so he would defeat them all. So they immediately threw all together, saying that the guy was not so confident because now they will fight seriously. But our hero had the reaction speed of an archer, and it was not so hard for him to dodge all the attacks, and also perfectly helps him in battle. But no one could believe because the spirit's paralyzing lightning strike didn't work, since the physique and will of the night blocks magic, and Mach at close range for a warrior is as fragile as glass, which actually I expected since Mark of epic rank also leaves the fight. And then already on our way stood an archer who tried to attack our hero in the back. She did not succeed. After all, the huge power of free strikes and archers of epic rank also leaves the fight I did not do anything significant. And some have epic spirits they could follow him at all to even delay the guy summoned huge bears that crush him, and in just a matter of moments appeared in front of the girl, which in an instant to move and not at all. While at this time the bear that appeared from the girl immediately began to attack our hero while he stood still and could not move. But at some point the bear stopped, as the essence of the Presresvatal no-go affinity with the summoning monster, and he too turned his attack to another epic spirit. But no one understood how such a thing was possible, as the instant epic rank, knights were also leaving the battle. The girl realized that she had lost control of the bear, but the heroes I came too close asked her if there was a chance you summoner lost his guardians to change the outcome of the battle. And actually the outcome of her was not as surprising as worry or epic rank when you also fight. But then the heroes. I noticed another epic spirit he had already fought before telling him that too dearly his comrades had already lost, and whether he intended to continue the fight at 16 o'clock. Another epic friend said no, since he had already defeated him before. He did not see the point of repeating it at all. The epic spirits realized that he was gifted with it, and he had passed the test with 6 epic rank representatives. His body, will, and fighting spirit are all far superior to any of the awakened that came through this trial, including each of them in their lifetime, so they immediately rewarded him with their talents. And in that moment, the guy began to realize that he would still get that each of the class, and they could all exist in the same body thinking about it only. But for a moment he felt that he didn't, because they were all beginning to merge together and they were blending, and the aura emanating from them already exceeded the epic of the early ones because it was more than that. The spirits were surprised as they didn't understand, how is it possible that the accompanying talent is above the epic rank, then what kind of early then? But at some point, our hero began to feel stronger, realizing that at the last stage of fusion there was a very high probability of failure. Realizing that he couldn't fail when he had already achieved such a result, and in the name of all epic spirits he wanted them to merge and shed starlight. Since the appearance of the awakened appeared in the various accompanying talents, iron, bronze, and silver, and in the minds of most the golden wound was already considered the highest rank of talent. As for the epic rank for most ordinary people, it was only a fairy tale. But also the highest epic, no one knew if anything, even our hero didn't realize that there could be something more than just an epic rank. Our hero got an unprecedented mythical talent. Mythic rank is the heart of a brave man. Heart of a brave man is the strongest talent. It appeared in the PU battle after defeating the enemy, and it was possible to get its source by restoring strength and increasing his power. The owner of the heart of a brave Smela breaks through difficulties and hopeless situations, and he can use spirit and blood, increasing his power 10 times. The epic spirits did not expect that there was someone above epic rank, and they are honored to see such a miracle. Realizing that after so many years of waiting, they have fought a worthy opponent and will now leave without regret, addressing the heroes, saying that they hope that he will faithfully serve his lineage and all of this world for the sake of starlight. Our hero. I, kneeling down and pouring out the contents of the bottle, said that there is a wish is sure to come true. Meanwhile, the girl who received the gold rank on the advice of our hero is already above and from the portal. Many were surprised, as it is the famous daughter of the family. And others realized that they tried so hard to get the bronze rank that there is a difference between the first I am not the family. Got the accompanying talent of the gold rank, and it was just amazing. But the girl realized that it's all thanks to Senior and Sensei, and it's not amazing at all. One of the guys who approached the girl said that she was modest, and it's a gold rank in the City of Dawn. This happens once every 10 years, and someone because of our warriors bragged about their strength before the test. And now... But others thought that the Archers Guild could only rely on luck, because sooner or later, the Warriors Guild would also have a chance to get the gold rank. When the guy immediately began to argue, because one of them waited for the other, and the girl realized that these two again began to fight. She wondered where the guy who helped her thought maybe he hadn't come back from the ordeal yet. But also the gate would close soon, and she had to report that the trial was over. But the girl wanted to wait because they had to wait for someone, and one of the men said if someone hasn't come back yet, then his trial has failed. Then our hero, I started to come out of the portal, and immediately it became clear who she was talking about, because it was a question, as he was just hiding there to avoid the test with the spirits. I'll tell you myself, on the guys who were making fun at the beginning, immediately noticed our hero said that he is defective, and the others immediately began to ask our hero what rank he got in this test. And one of the fighters saw the light that our hero was emitting, since he was a gold rank and the light literally enveloped him in gold. Everyone was very surprised to think that this time as many as 2 gold ranks passed the test. Meanwhile, the Heart of the Brave's talent that allows you to expose to the light at any rank and displaying a gold rank, just like in his past life, is quite enough. This should have gotten the necessary attention from the Warrior Guild. As well as appealing to a bunch of idiot told them to stop forever trying, you dare others and better think about how to learn their skills. And they immediately realized that they had crossed the road to the future big shots of the City of Dawn. But the girl was very puzzled since I realized that the guy got the gold rank, but he was going to the very rank that could be obtained there. Just because the girl was a card, but I'm just telling her to keep quiet. The girl realized that the guy had a lot of secrets since he was in the deepest land of the Starlight Road. One of the guys immediately began to tell the bearded man whether he had passed the test, and the man thought that he was calling him names now as he was just joking. Also referring to our hero, saying that he did well because not in vain their guild of warriors put so much effort in his training. But others immediately remarked that he was shameless because they didn't even know about it before, and he called him a warrior that they had invested so much effort in training. But still, no one cared about the appearance of two gold-ranked fighters in this trial. It was already considered a historical event. Realizing that this urgently needed to be reported since there were two gold-ranked fighters this time, and it was a surprise to everyone. The man also interrogated E, said that this is a historical event, but who are these two people who received the golden rank, and one is the daughter of the family, but it was expected, but the second is some unknown name. And as soon as our hero was named one of the guys I heard, it was very surprised to hear it was the same guy who took his house away from him. You see, he got a gold ranking, he thought it was impossible. The events are transferred to the City of Dawn Warriors Guild, where our hero arrived. Everyone immediately noticed him, as he's one of the participants of the trial who received a Golden Wound 1, as promising many girls considered him handsome, saying that he is just their type. You notice that he is young and handsome, and so she would have eaten him. And because he is handsome, may not like girls on his daughter just turned 17 years old, and she is so suitable for him. But the hero at this point seems to think that they have realized the impact of the gold rank. And our hero said that from now on he is a full-fledged awakened. There are nowhere people because he is a representative of the Guild of Warriors of the City of Dawn welcomes him. Said also that in order for heroes to follow him must get a reward that suits him. The hero, as soon as he heard about the reward, he thought that it seems that the guild treats its members well and give them a reward for their achievements. Hero, I along with the attendant went into the room where one of the men moved our hero, who was already standing waiting for them. It was the treasurer of the Guild of the Freehold Guild in hand on the grant, accompanying the golden rank of Mr. Duanchija, and for him to check it. In the box was an unpredictable Kwacha blade. This is one of the strongest skills of the treasurer warrior class, are very kind, and they don't often have a gold rank awakened in their guild, so they must live it with all their strength in its development. As well as 10 star stones of initial rank, the man said that as soon as he passed the trials he had one such stone, and it is fine rata for gold rank. And also Kaznakam addressed the heroes. They say that in the first days after awakening, learning a new one is the most effective, and he advised to start as soon as possible. The hero smiling and said that of course after all he was very interested in this, he would already hurry up. But as soon as the treasurer left, he went into one of the rooms where the guy turned to him like a brother asking how it went. The same treasurer turned to the guy, do not say that he is more reliable and solved problems than him, and his attached book is already given to the hero, and he will start training the skill. And in a couple of days I will be insane. And the moment he will be insane me, he will be able to send a request to the guild for a duel, and then he'll get rid of him in front of everyone without missing a beat. But the guy also noticed that his brother always does everything perfectly, and if he gets rid of him, then the family inheritance will go to him, and he will thank him from the bottom of his heart. Multivalent also noting that they all just fulfill the river on top of the reward, but he can figure it out himself. Since our hero being even a golden genius previously, he still died such groups on to destroy him, and everything that belongs to the family will become his. Our hero understood that he was afraid because the one who passed the unpredictable Kwacha blade was also not easy. Even Beeline with his S rank could not recognize the problem. If there was someone else on the spot would have come out trouble. Realizing from his actions he is also involved in this on whether the situation has anything to do with his half-brother. And also, it is the previous voices of the awakened society. The disappearance of his parents and the hero was interested to be around the family, since there are so many behind the scenes and mysterious personalities hanging around it. So he immediately made the decision that he would play along with them, and he would be interested in doing so. Since the defect of imparting such talents to a newcomer is very primitive, so he could easily play it off if they wanted to play a ridiculous situation like the tricks. But when the time came. If he's around, that guy won't be able to intervene, especially since he has 10 star stones of hers and he'll need them. After all, star stones are crystals that contain concentrated star power, and they are divided into the initial rank in the middle to higher, and so on absorbing the energy of star doctors through these crystals awakened can quickly develop their power and improve their skills, and it is considered a harmful treasure. Although he had figured out all the high and even divine level skills if he wanted to quickly improve his strength, He had to start from the beginning. Although he studied it in his past life, but he knows unpredictable to your blade is a very strong entry-level skill, and it can be used up to. Although developing this skill is quite difficult for him, it means nothing. Using Qua as a blade, spinning it as if this part of the flesh is part of the ball, the concept of this skill is quite unusual, as far as key points used by spiritual energy have been corrupted, but he can tweak that. And he hoped that 10 initial rank crystals would be enough to fully master this skill. So he immediately made a decision that he would start from there using all 10 crystals. But suddenly for him, he felt the strongest more in his hand, realized that strong energy concentrated, as if someone was his bones. After all, the unpredictable Quacha blade is the strongest basic skill you wallpaper, the difficulty of arrival of which he had slightly underestimated. And even though he had simultaneously awakened all 6 classes, his strength and flexibility improved dramatically. But if he finished the training in one go, he could damage his arm here in 10 days or half a month. It was possible if any of the other warriors wanted to master this skill, he would need at least 1 year. But he was so much interested, so he decided to continue. After all, it was just a basic skill. Using all the concentration in his hands, he continued. And just moments later, a sword flew to his hand. And he used the warrior skill Frongo unpredictable quenched blade to strike. Realizing that they wasted 10 starstones of the initial rank and a whole day to not fully master it. I realized that when he moves to the next rank, it is Anu who will rise to a higher level, and since he had already finished, it was possible to go out. But then suddenly, this same half-brother, who was holding a piece of paper with a challenge to a duel to determine who would be the heir to the family, decided, asking if he accepts his challenge. They say it's an official challenge to a duel. Our hero only laughs, saying that he is funny. I am now also awakened, so the inheritance will remain his. If she has any more questions, because why the statistic, he is meddling in his business, and he is ungrateful from the moisture. Everyone immediately noticed the guy saying that he was brought up in his family, saying that it's that Christian, and how dare he fight with our hero for the family legacy. He's a student scandal, he should be expelled. That he should look carefully at this paper because there is an official seal and there is no need to make a fuss. And no one understood how the community had allowed this conflict to arise in the first place. There were only idiots sitting at the top of the family who decided things blackly. He even noticed that the family's estate is already enumerated in his name if they accept the challenge. Then he automatically waives all claims on the estate, and this is his home, where the family raised him all these years. And at this point, our hero became angry, but he realized that he was angry because he was being influenced by the memories of your young man, and it's not even worth it to get him. And the guy also continued to talk, and is he ready to accept the challenge not for life but for death? And in a moment, our hero in his hands held a piece of paper, read what was written to me. And the guy did not understand how this happened. And our hero immediately showed the paper and said that he accepts his challenge. But the guy did not understand because he did not even notice his movements. Similar changes, also related to the awakened golden rank. But read it good that they edited the teachings of the unpredictable leavened blade, and he will wait for when in the midst of battle this suddenly becomes uncontrollable. And then, by the end would be very close. And the fight began as soon as the kid used the same attack he used earlier on our hero. It was funny because he used the same attack again. Can he think of anything new? And the guy, nevertheless, I do not understand how this happened because he grabbed. And then already our hero of the skill used said that here is their wonderfully changed skill. Literally with a single blow, he was able to throw his opponent a strong enough distance. But he was able to get back up. I don't know why that happened. And everyone immediately began to praise our hero, saying that this guy let the Thieves Guild see their power, but others thought that he is just scum. And not worth mentioning the guild because they have nothing to do with him. After all, not for nothing. This is a gold rank that appears once every 10 years, and we have our own unpredictable fistblade in just one day, and has already brought me to the level that without straining can crush the thief in rank. The hero continued to make her attacks, and was about to fall back and give him alms. But at some point the hero didn't expect him to be called so lively. And the guy opens his hands, saying did not think that he will put on protective eye gold vest. After all, he is just a lowly warrior, what he can do to him. Everyone thought that this act is very nasty because he called his protective vest, but others thought that something like this can buy such a thing and right, and forbidden to wear protection. To which the guy did not begin to address the heroes. They say that last time he was very lucky, for today he must die, and already in the moment attacking himself with his double snake attack skill. But the guy didn't expect that our hero I can easily repel the attack. I mean, he doesn't understand how he fought off the double snake attack so easily. Here the hero began to say that he thought that he did not know what lives on him, because he realized it from the first blow, just decided to play along when he saw a glimmer of hope again, disappointed, very nice to see. Said that now there would be no mercy, he should feel the real power of the unpredictable fist blade. Which he didn't, but you can't throw a real punch at your opponent. From which he literally fell so far from the lithium that he could no longer get up. ask why nothing happens, but the heroes asked him, wondering or why after mastering this skill with him, nothing happens. And the kid realized that he knows everything about everything, and the heroes have figured out that just because he's so dumb, it doesn't mean the rest of us are the same. They say he's gonna get him alive, but we should also tell him who's behind it. But all of a sudden, the guy bit into something. The hero immediately said he had a mouthful and bit through the capsule. But the kid immediately began to tell our hero that he will never know what was left with his parents, and even if he is gifted with his power special. Besides, he'll be crushed just like a little ant. Our hero realizes that this selfish and ungrateful bastard is willing to die but not reveal the truth. And it seems that those who are behind all this have a lot of power in the City of Dawn. And now that the guy is dead, they will definitely change the next step, and it will again promote our hero danger. But he doesn't care about that because he can't wait to see how powerful those behind the scenes are. But now he's just a useless Frank and very weak, but given the situation, increasing his fighting power is paramount for our hero.